What up, though, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up, Though show. It's your boy, Dame D, and I am back with another one. It's Freestyle Friday tonight. What's good, y'all? I'm going to wait for a few people to check in and chime in before I start up today's show. How everybody night's been going thus far? It's Friday night. Yep. So, like I said, I'm waiting for a few people to come on in, and then I'll start to show up, I should say. But I want to, hopefully everybody's having a great Friday night. Hopefully everybody is being safe out there. It's a beautiful night tonight, beautiful day, I should say. Hopefully we have continue to have a beautiful weekend. Let me make sure I can be heard too. So I'm getting ready to check my volume, make sure I can be seen and heard. What's going on Facebook, what's going on YouTube, what's going on Instagram. So let me check this and make sure I can be heard. Test and check this. Okay, yep. So I can be heard. So that's on YouTube. So let me go over here on Facebook. What's going on Facebook? How everybody doing out there tonight? Okay. So it's not okay. Now I'm showing it on live. Here we go. Okay, there we go. What up, though, Facebook? What's going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a good night tonight. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to jump in, and we're gonna go ahead and start up tonight's show. It's Freestyle Friday. Just had a few topics that's on my mind that I'm going to talk about tonight. I invited a few guests to come in and discuss and have a conversation about tonight's discussion tonight. So, we're waiting on hopefully DJ Shawnee D to join us on tonight's discussion. She's been having a few technical difficulties trying to get in, which is understandable. Yep. So, like I said, it's a Friday night. Hopefully, everybody's having hold on. Yeah, it's Friday night on Triple. I had to check to make sure it wasn't Saturday. But yes, it's Friday night. Hopefully, everybody's having a great night. Relax. And I wanted to today's one of the topics that we're going to talk about today is it's the Stellantis workers. Stellantis pretty much no profit to share with the workers. With the UAW Stellantis workers. So we're going to start off talking about that today. So like I said, I'm going to allow a few people to come in before we start the conversation up. So, I want as many people, hold on. Hey, Teasy.
What's up, young man?
What's going on, man? I'm live on the show. If you want to come on in, man, I just started up. I'm getting ready to talk about this Stellantis workers not I'm getting this profit sharing check. So I'm sending. What's your email? I'm getting ready to send you a link. Come on in, man. I'll chop it up with me.
Turner 2. I'm gonna send you my email.
Yeah, send it to me now, and I'm gonna send you a link.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but so yeah, man. But yeah, that's one of the things that we're gonna talk about tonight. I'm waiting for a few people to come in. I really want my some of the UAW Chrysler workers to tap in and and have this conversation. I'm gonna talk about it for a little bit and then move on. It's been a lot of the Ford and GM workers has been clowning the Stellantis workers, talking a lot of shit. Understandable. Because a few years ago, when Stellantis was on top, it was a lot being said, a lot of words, a lot of bickering back and forth on these sides, and it should all be about competition. So like I said, I'm gonna wait for a few people to jump in. So yeah, if you guys want to come in over on Facebook, any of your Stellantis workers, UAW workers want to join the conversation, DM me your link or put your link put your email in the comment section. And I'll be able to bring you in for the discussion. So yeah, I'm gonna go in there to start up. I'll wait. I'm waiting on PT to send me his email, and then I'll try to bring him in. But yeah, I'll go ahead and start it up. So yeah, man, a lot of people, it's been announced, today that the Stellantis workers, well, yesterday, I believe that the Stellantis workers, UAW workers will not receive a profit sharing check this year. And a lot of people was upset, understandable, because a lot of people depend on this stuff, will depend on this check, for like vacation and just, catching up on bills and things like that. So it's understandable that, people will be upset about that, because people work hard all year long, just to make sure that at the end of the year that they're receiving, a decent profit sharing check, but that did not happen this year. It was a loss. The company reported, billions of dollars lost. We're going to talk about the reasons why, in my opinion. So like I said, I sent out a few links. I wanted a few people to come in, especially some of the Stellantis workers that, that's affected by this. It definitely affected a lot of people last year, because 2 years ago, Stellantis was on top. They were bringing record highs, 15, 16,000, minimum, profit sharing home, and it was just a dramatic drop off from last year to 3,300 or something like that, to $0 that the workers are getting this year. So it's a lot of people upset. It's a lot of people frustrated. Understandably, I understand why. But like I said, it's a lot of issues. There was a lot of things that was going on to, the cost for the company to have a significant loss, and I'll just go ahead and start off. One of the main reasons was the EV transition. They spent billions of dollars to transition into this EV. Hold on, I got Shiny D getting ready to come in. Shiny D, what up, dog?
What's happening?
Yeah, I see you made it to the stage, made it to the conversation. Okay, that's what's up.
Yes. Who else? It's just us.
I'm just starting up. I'm just now. We're going ahead and you go ahead and introduce yourself to the show.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to get this bigger.
You probably got to turn it to the side.
Oh, to the side.
Yeah.
Will I be crossways though?
I don't know. You should be able to adjust it.
Okay.
Once you do it.
Hey man, hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. But
Okay.
while you're doing that, I'll just update you on what I was talking about. And you're a UAW Stellantis worker, so I was just talking about people being upset about the announcement that the workers are not getting a profit sharing check this year. $0, no profit to share with the workers. So once you get that fixed, give me your thoughts, give me your opinion, and just before you came in, I was explaining, some of the reasons why the company reported, no profit sharing to the companies. But give me your opinion, give me your thoughts on this whole situation, DJ Shiny D.
Well, the thing about it is, when you read about it, they owe $26.6 billion back. So, and that's just the loss that they're reporting this year.
Right.
They have a loss of $26 billion. So we knew that money had to come from somewhere. I'm not saying that I'm okay with it, but corporations usually don't tax themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they usually tax the workers or the buyers.
Right.
And so, it's just what it is. It is what it is. It is.
Yeah, right before you came in, I was just talking about why it's send me your email, PT. I know you're watching, so send me your email. But I was talking about the reasons why a significant loss in in the profits the last 2 years, and I was just talking about the transition of these EV vehicles, that no one really was buying. These cars were sitting on the lots, pretty much for the last 2 years. No one was buying these cars. It had a lot to do with that, the transition of the EVs that they spent billions of dollars, trying to get this program up and going, which was a democratic issue that was pushed in anyway in the first place, but that's another discussion, but that was one of the main reasons why, the company lost, because a lot of people was not interested in buying these electric cars. A lot of these cars set, they stopped production on, some of the main sellers, which were the Hellcats, the V8s, the Hemi, so just give me your opinion, on all this, everything that's involved in, in the losses and, what needs to be done going forward. And, just what do you think, like far as what, how the electric cars had an effect on the company the last 2 years?
Well, it really isn't their fault. It's the government's fault because they're the ones who put the mandate in order that all the cars had to be electric by 2030 or something like that. I'm not really sure, 2035 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then and I'm not sure. That's why we need old professional Joseph on it because
Yeah, I
it's
sent him a link. He said he was out. So hopefully
okay.
he'll be able to join us at some point, but he said he was out and about. But yeah,
But
go ahead though.
I feel like Trump put this in his first term. Now I could be wrong, because he was in good with Elon. When him and Elon fell out, now he don't want no electric vehicles, and let's go back to V6 engine, and that's putting everybody in a bind. So this administration is confusing. So I'm not surprised that the big corporations in this country under this administration are confused because it's confusing.
Yeah, no, and it is. And give me your thoughts on this. A lot of people are confused about this. GM and Ford, they kind of fell up under the same situation with this whole electric, car situation. They lost profits too. But their employees were still able to walk away with some money. And it was reported that some Stellantis workers overseas did take home profit sharing checks. So give me your thoughts on that, because a lot of people is frustrated, confused, about that whole situation. So if you know any about that, explain a little bit about that.
I don't. I don't
Okay.
know
Well,
because
yeah. Well, the thing about
it's
that is, Stellantis. I got a few people that made some comments that we are, not a part of the big three, and we're a foreign company now. And the people from that part of the world who build the cars over there, that they were able to take home profits. And a lot of people don't understand that. So that's why I wish Joe was actually here to be able to explain that part. But yeah, you have people over and I believe France, they profited from the company this year. So there was some type of profit. So that's the thing that a lot of people was upset, because like I said in the beginning, people, this is something that's not a giving every year. Is just something that when a company makes profits that they share with the employees. So a lot of people look at it like like it's a contract, like it's written that we get this every year, but it's not. It's only when a company makes a significant profit that they're able to break bread with the company. So just give me your thoughts on going forward on what do you think the company, which way you think they need to head on
Well,
trying to
I just
correct this
say
shit.
if I don't get a profit sharing, I know supervisors better not get a bonus. I bet nobody better not get a bonus because that's where we at in it all. I feel like if we all sacrificing, then from the head down, we need to sacrifice. What I'm having a problem with this company is there are different rules for different people. So, just like there are people that they got team leaders at work this week. Ain't nobody there. They got one car and I status. So why are the team leaders there? You know what I mean? So it's just, and not that I'm hating, but I'm like, some people don't miss money and then some miss a lot of money. So it's just weird to me how things are run. I don't think that the union should get a bonus. Definitely don't think they should get a bonus. And so I just feel like if we all gonna sacrifice, then we all gonna sacrifice.
Yeah,
If
so
anybody,
that's a lot of that's probably something that a lot of people don't know. So when the employees don't get it, the union still they're still getting profits, profit sharing checks.
well, usually
Is,
they'll
is that
get
what
profit
you're saying?
sharing from us. They'll get profit sharing when we do because they don't like reps and stuff. They don't really get paid from union dues. They get paid hourly or whatever. So they would get
Right.
profit sharing too. But these supervisors who get bonuses and stuff, they better not get nothing either. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah,
Nobody.
there definitely needs to be talks about that, because if the workers, the employees, who actually put in the labor and the work, if they're not walking away with anything, and I'm not not hating on nobody else for what they got, but like you said, it should be evenly across the board. You know what I mean? But I got a few comments. Ryan said we need a fucking revolution. You know, he
Yeah, we
also
do.
made another
We
comment.
do.
And if you want to come in, Ryan, I do have your email. Let me know. I'm getting ready to bring PT in. So go on ahead and if you see the comments, DJ Shiny D, it's a few in there. Can you read them off? I'm getting ready to send this link out to PT.
Yeah, I don't see any of that. I don't know why.
Okay, you don't see any okay, well that probably are you on you on the phone, so you won't be able to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but just go ahead and you can finish. Just give me your thoughts on on what we need to do going forward, because like I said in the beginning, and you stated that we lost, what was it, like 29 billion or something like that, or 26 billion?
Yeah, 26 billion. And that just what they're reporting as a loss, like they had a $26 billion loss, is the exact amount that they owe for faulty parts, for I was reading about it, but it was a lot of things going on with that EV and and all of that with the electrical vehicle. So my thing is this. Whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna tell us something different. They're not gonna tell us at first. We ain't gonna find out till the last minute. So we don't stand up for ourselves now. I really, if they give us profit sharing, I don't see them lasting, because last year's profits were messed up. I'm not saying they didn't sell any cars, but I'm saying they had a lot of recalls last year too. And then with this lawsuit, I don't know why Stellantis don't just sell it back to the people that want to buy it here. It's almost
Yeah,
like
because that right there hurt us a lot too, in my opinion. Because it knocked us out of the big three, per se, I should say.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna read a few of these comments that we got in here. But yeah, it definitely hurt us dramatically, a lot, but it's gonna, I think things are gonna turn around within the next year or two. A lot of the plants are starting to get contracts for these V8s. They definitely brought the Hemi engines back for some of our main sellers, like the Hellcats and things like that. So those will be back. That was a reason why a lot of our sales dropped, due to the to the V8s and things like that. But go ahead, LaShawn.
Well, I hope they do it, and I hope they bring the price down so that people can afford it. You know what I mean? Because that's the point that we're at. We're in a point where we got 1% of the nation that is making money right now. Everybody else is losing money because they got it set up that way. So ain't nobody gonna be able to afford to buy these cars.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to drop the price significantly, especially now, because especially like how the economy is going now, the prices are going to definitely have to drop, or these cars are going to be sitting again on these lots, so they have to make it affordable, for the American people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and that means that these prices are going to have to drop immediately. But the main thing, I believe, once they switch back over and they go back to the production of these V8s, things will switch back over. Because one thing I can say and will say that Trump has done, he has been keeping us working. Because without some of these laws that he put in issue on terrorists, it would have pretty much put a lot of these jobs that we see or that we're working, overseas to Mexico and Canada, so it was the whole Democrat, Biden, what's the word? Administration that issued in these EV cars that, set us on this course,
You sound just like Joe. You know what I mean?
No,
So
I'm not. I'm just stating facts. I'm really not sounding like Joe, but that's where this came from. You can look it up.
Who you been talking to? You gotta watch the company that you keep. Okay.
No. I mean, listen. Hey, when you right, you're right. And you're wrong, you're wrong. Now, I disagree with Joe on a lot of stuff, but if you really look at it and you go back, a lot of the main reasons why a lot of these plants are still going and they have not switched over, because he actually stopped the execution of these EV cars and put a halt to that, and and bringing back these gas in. That's why you saw them out at Ford. They had significant losses too at their plants with GM and Ford, but they were still able to stay a little bit above water.
Well, I agree with you partly. I also think that, excuse me, I've been having this little lingering cough. I also think that you can't have other countries make our parts and then talk about illegal immigration. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to pick a battle. And right now, cars is one of our biggest products. That's the biggest thing we produce. So if you give them a buyout, you just got $10 billion. I mean, however much money you got, because we will never know how much money you got from these tariffs and these gifts and all this other stuff. Why don't you take your money and give each of the why don't you help them so that they can switch over? Because the suppliers can't keep up with the V6 engine right now. So we're having to switch all back when they the ones told us to switch in the first place. So to me, it just seems like a way to, like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this administration has kind of sold us out to other countries. So I don't think that even Trump cares about this country at all. So for him to sell us under the bus, and we could get into that conversation another day, but I don't think he cares about us at all. I think that we have loyalty here. People will buy American because that's what they buy. But I think when when the last CEO outpriced us, when we got these cheaper parts, when production was slower, and they want to put it on operators, but it wasn't. It was the management as well. So let's add that. So you got people running these companies that don't know what the hell. Well, I can only speak for mine, that don't know what the hell they are doing. They have no idea. So all this change and people not really being trained. You could tell how abrupt it was just by there not being enough charging stations to charge these cars. So the infrastructure was just all wrong. It was, just something that was done on an impromptu basis, and they have no idea what they are doing.
Yeah, the car companies, and you can't really blame them. They were forced to, start putting these cars in production. And it killed, it hurt sales, on all companies going forward, but besides Tesla, you know what I mean? So hopefully,
is that not the proof you need? Is that not the proof you need? You know what I mean? You just answered your own question. You said everybody was in trouble but Tesla. Do that not sound like an inside track to you?
No, I mean, hey, listen, let's talk about it. It probably was, but it's all, like you said, it's kind of ironic that when him and and I don't think that had nothing to do with it, with him and Eli Musk getting into it, and and beefing out, and him and Elon falling out. I don't think that stopped the production, because they're still going to go forward, with the production. It's just they're still going to continue to make the V8 gas engines. You know what I mean? And still be able to put some of the EVs on that line at the same time, I believe. But yeah, man, if you don't have anything else to add, I'm going to move on to this whole and I don't know if you even familiar with this whole, and let me switch over to that. I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it right, with this NIPAH virus over in India.
No.
Okay. So, well, yeah, I got audio and video of this NIPAH virus that's going on. I have that set up. I'm gonna bring that to the stage and I'm gonna play that. So give me 1 second and I'll play that video and then we'll get back to our commentary. But here we go.
Okay.
Well, several countries are monitoring the spread of a deadly virus. India says it has contained its 2 cases of Nipah virus, but a number of airports across Asia are now heightening health screenings of travelers. CBC's Salima Shivji has the latest from Mumbai.
The 2 confirmed cases of Nipah virus are in India's West Bengal state to the east, and health officials here say that those are the only 2 cases of the rare virus to be detected since December. But more than 190 people are in quarantine after having had some sort of contact with the 2 people who were infected with the deadly virus, both of them healthcare workers, according to a local doctor that I spoke with. Now, those in isolation have tested negative for Nipah virus so far, but they are constantly being monitored and screened, since the maximum incubation period for this deadly virus can be as long as 21 days. India officials say that the outbreak is contained, and an infectious disease and clinical microbiologist that I spoke with in Kolkata says that's because of early detection and treatment.
So the two cases which have been diagnosed were properly taken care from different organ system support, and now one is out of danger and another one is recovering. So you can say mortality is still now nil.
There is still fear that this could spread, and that is because Nipah virus, which is usually transmitted to humans through animals like pigs or fruit bats, is highly contagious and there is no vaccine. It's also very difficult to diagnose and deadly, a fatality rate of between 40 and 75%, according to the World Health Organization. And that's why we're seeing advanced and enhanced screening in airports across Asia. Pakistan is the latest neighboring country to announce that it is going to be screening for the virus because of what it's seeing here in India. That's along with what we're already seeing, thermal screening, temperature checks, and other measures in airports across Asia.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it and come out. So pretty much that's just giving you, you know, a little bit knowledge of what's going on. You know, we got Cleo that's over on Facebook. What's going on, Cleo? Cleo made a comment. She said they should have blew up the Hellcat and ran with it. Yeah, you know, it's coming back. You know, the sales on that electric Hellcat, it showed that, you know, the consumers showed that they didn't want that electric bullshit, you know, bring back the V8s. You know, people want to hear that power and they want to feel it, you know, so the consumers talk. That's why the company lost a lot of money, you know, so hopefully we'll be able to turn that around, you know. But yeah, man, give me your thoughts on this. You know, you heard about what the video said about this Nipah virus. It's over in India. Give me your thoughts. Give me your opinion. Why do we always see these diseases, you know, start up over in other countries and somehow make it here to the United States and have a major effect on, you know, our people, the economy, and everything?
Well, I think people nasty. One thing, I think people don't wash their hands, and people put their mouth on anything, and you know, this is my thing, but it just kind of sounds like COVID. It sounds like that pneumonia-like symptoms. It sounds like the stuff that Kim Porter passed from or Heavy D passed from. It sounds like some population control all over again.
Yeah, hey man, you know, cause not to cut you off, when I first heard it, you know, this virus is more deadlier, they're saying, than COVID. It has 40 to 75% death rate, you know, once it comes in contact with you. You know what I mean? So this is, go ahead.
Well, our problem right this second, because since it's contained over in India, our fight right this second is the measles. That's making a comeback. The measles is killing people over here, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought the measles was cured. Why are we taking vaccines and stuff still? And this is my thing about all of it is, if why am I taking a shot if you're not curing it? What are you
Exactly.
curing? What are you curing? What are you
Nothing.
doing?
So
So
what are you doing?
yeah,
Are you putting other shit inside me that doesn't
you
belong
are.
in me, that's going to
You
harm
are.
me some
You
years
are.
later? You know, because it's been proven that the COVID vaccination did not stop you from catching COVID. So what did it do?
So what was the point? Which is why I didn't get it.
Exactly.
Because I didn't get it because I'm not real trusting of the government right now and what they are doing and the roles that they're taking. Even during President Trump's first term, he you knew he had an agenda for something, because he was making all these, you know, and then when we got COVID and it was so big, it kind of slowed his plans down a little bit. You know, I don't think he was ready.
Right.
You know,
As Sports Cause 555 said, it's more fear pushing. You know, and I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure.
You know,
For sure.
it's going to be more fear pushing, and then it's going to be for more vaccinations, you know, at these drug companies.
Yeah, because I have made a decision now that when they say, "Oh, it's gonna be this big storm," and you know, hunker in for the night, I'm not running out to the grocery store. I'm not. I'm gonna get what I was gonna get anyway, and I'm going home because you know they're playing us. They think we're stupid. And the people are, I think that the reason that all these outbreaks are coming out, and this is my own little conspiracy theory, I think that the reason that they want us to take all these shots and these things is because whatever they're trying to put in us, it has something to do with AI or something they want to do, because now they want to start taking vacation trips out of space and stuff. So yeah, it's all inside trader. It's all money. It's all the money, and they don't care who they step on to get the money.
No, and that's a
So,
fact, you know, and
so
it's been proven years and years over
who's
again that,
giving
you
these
know, that
shots?
they will experiment, you know, on you know, not just a certain group of people, but you know, they will experiment on the masses, you know, to continue to
Yeah.
make money for these corporations.
Yeah, for sure. My thing is, okay, so Trump is building a ballroom, right? This is how I look at the government now. Trump building a ballroom. My question is, what's under the ballroom? You know what I mean? Like, for real, we need to be looking like that. Like, what is he trying to bury under the ballroom?
Right.
So I just don't trust them. I don't trust, the favors that they do for others. You getting planes and stuff from Saudi Arabia. You getting, all these trillions with hundreds of thousands of, millions of dollars from people and your friends, and then they're getting tax breaks. They're getting, so it doesn't seem to be about us.
No, and it's never going to be about us. You know,
Right.
they'll speak and say little things that he may address for the average citizen, but for the most part, it's for the rich to continue to be rich and keep everybody else where they're at.
Yeah, they
At the
want to
end of the
snatch
day,
the money
because
and
we don't
go.
get the tax breaks that these rich people or these corporations get.
No, why is everybody taxed the same? And then the thing is you building casinos and hotels and stuff in other countries. So how you for America? You know what I mean? What
Yeah,
do you do?
then that should wake people up and allow you to, like, okay, if you're building other shit in other countries and not this country, what is that saying, about this country? Are you literally
Read
trying to
Read
think
the
this country?
FP5. Read
So
Read
you got to
the
think about
FP5.
things like that. These viruses, all these diseases that's going on. And a lot of people would say this too, LaShawn. A lot of people have conspiracy theories that when that COVID hit, that it killed off a lot of people who were receiving pensions.
Yeah,
A lot of those
yeah,
people died off.
yeah, for sure. Social
Yeah.
Security,
Yep.
Social
Socially,
Security,
yep. Socially, exactly. A lot of people. So,
Medicare,
you know,
Medicaid. Mhm.
and a
Yeah,
lot of this stuff is always population control when it comes to, these different viruses and stuff that, we come encounter with. So you just have to be careful with these vaccinations. Do not take them. Do not trust them, because most and foremost, your body should be able to heal pretty much anything that it comes in contact with, just over a period of time of just resting and healing yourself up.
if you eat right,
Yeah.
if
And
you
if you
work
eat right,
out,
and
if you
most of this
drink
shit is coming
water.
from us not eating right.
Yeah, yeah. If you eat fruit and stuff that's grown, yeah, you will heal yourself. But like I said, it's a different climate now. I think that we are unique in our generation because we've seen it from the very best to now this. We've seen it because we didn't grow up with AI. We didn't grow up with computers all the time, and so we've seen just the evolution of the culture. And I'm telling you, some ways it look good, but it looked bad to me.
See, and I'm glad you brought that up. I was thinking about that the other day. Do you think, and I had a conversation with, somebody about that. Has AI or just with this whole computer generation, has social media, has social media, I'm not gonna say dumbed us down, but have social media took away, and I'm trying to find the correct word that I had the other day when I was talking about this.
You can say dumb down because I know
Yeah,
what
I'm,
that
I'm just gonna
means.
say kind of dumb this down, because a lot of people, don't even read, they don't reference check. You can go right on Google and hit the speaker and ask them for anything that you need now, or cheap TPT chat, things like that, so it's kind of taken away from, us actually having to go and do research and, actually reading things like that, so, my question, I guess what I'm kind of asking you, I know it's helped us a lot, and things like what we're doing now, but do you think it has hurt us more than it has helped us?
Well, yeah. Do I think it has dumbed us down? Yeah. I can remember when I was a child and I wanted a Swatch watch so bad, right? And
Right.
it was this real cute one, and it was digital, and my mom wouldn't let me get it because it was digital. You know that you need to know how to tell time. You need to use your brain. But now everything is digital. And so I don't want to be so naive to think that, oh, we would be better if we were still where we were. No, I don't want to be that older person.
Yeah,
It
because
is,
I thought about that, and I think we had a conversation about that. What we prefer to go back to the old times and live off the land. Like how we once used to live once upon a time. Or are we accepting the way that we're going with the computer, with this digital and this social media? So in my opinion, I'm going to say I enjoy, the social media. I enjoy being able to get on my laptop, probably more than I would not being able to have these, I'm not going to say even necessities, these, because it's not a necessity, these options, to be able to have, like the
yeah.
internet, social media and things like that.
Well, like I heard today, someone say, in your 50s, you are the youngest of the old people. So, you know what? It ain't our world no more. And this is the way the world is going. It's going to do this. This is the evolution of time. Things are going to be, advanced. So it is what it is. Do I think that people, parents, anybody who knows what they are trying to do, because I could tell the difference in the algorithms now and before Trump got elected again, because now everything is trying to sell me something. Like everything, I can't even see my family and friends on Facebook because everything is trying to sell
Tell you
me
something,
something
yeah.
or to get my view to change about something. So if you don't take it upon yourself to say, okay, I see this is where it's going, but I'm going to take a mental break and get my eyes a break and my mind a break and do something outside. You can't get caught up in it, because if you get caught up in it, then you're a part of the problem. You doing exactly why they doing it. This is why they doing it. So we can't control that. We can't control what they do in labs and making stuff up. The one good thing about AI now is that it's making people who couldn't walk, who were disabled, walk again. You know what I mean? They able to get up out their wheelchairs. That's a beautiful thing. People, have full computerized aesthetics on their hands. So fingers move, grab stuff, shake hands, all that. That's something, that is good.
So
But
so
yeah,
so do you enjoy AI? Do you think AI is something, because AI, and we talked about this maybe last Friday on Freestyle Friday, that AI is going to be taking a lot of jobs away, from people that's working behind desks and things like that, like fire as secretarial things, you know what I mean? So give me your thoughts on that. AI is probably here to stay, and is going to be taking away a lot of jobs from a lot of people.
well, I don't want to be mad at businesses for wanting to keep up with the times. You know what I mean? I can't be mad at that. If you smart, you see the change. If you're paying attention, you see the change, and you educate yourself in somewhere on that lane so that you can keep up as well. So no, I don't think that computers are going to take all the jobs in my working lifetime. So what we got to think about is our children, our children and what they have to look forward to. So when they're picking a career, I say, instead of thinking of, and you got some kids that are super smart. Yeah, they should go into science. They should go into robotics. But then you got some who need to be electricians, who
Right.
need to be, what I mean, the drywallers, whatever, because they still
Yeah, and
gonna
I'm
need
and,
that.
and you hit it right on the nose. We definitely need the drywalls to let. We don't need no
No,
more rappers, no more athletes or
no.
things like. We need more of our youth to where it's really going to count and help us. You know, police officers, lawyers, you know, like she
Right.
said, electricians, and you know, and also a lot of our young youth with trades. You know, that's
Yeah.
one thing that we also need to talk about too, is bringing the trades back. You know, within the inner cities.
Well, to me, you know what, Detroit is a good place for that because, you know, everybody know a little something here in Detroit. It seems like, you know, everybody knows somebody, everybody because they're going through the rebuilding stage.
Right.
So I get that, and I always think that those kids that you know that don't have a father or are going off in the wrong direction. If you're an electrician, why can't you go get this kid? You know what I mean, and teach him a trade because he can learn on the apprenticeship, and let's start training up and not being like, well, I'm an electrician, I'm gonna keep on the business. Give it up,
Yeah, you
teach
know, and I
somebody.
wish PT would have came in because he just got off into that field and got his his degree in that. You know, but yeah, you know, I think that needs to be preached to the youth more. Um, you know, more than college. You know, because something a trade cannot be taken away from you. You know, it's a skill that you can actually go out there and have your own business and run. You don't need no corporation, you know, or no boss with that. You can actually be your own boss and doing things like that. You know, I kind of wish that, you know, I would have kind of stayed or got a trade. You know, you know, which I do have a trade, but I wish I would have got multiple trades up under my belt. You know, but
Yeah,
yeah, to me, that's the way to go, you know, because like you said, I don't think in our lifetime that we will see computers take over, you know, all the jobs that, you know, in our field that we're doing, you know, because it's just certain jobs. And we talked about this with Big Ken last week, you know, it's certain jobs that the computers, I mean, that the robots right now just cannot do, you know, that we still, it's still that meaning that humans are still going to be, you know, impact in the automobile workforce, I should say.
mhm. Yeah, I do agree with you. Everybody can't afford to turn over to robotics all the way just yet. You know, it's going to take some time. But you know, it's here to stay. It's where we're at. You know, we're not on this planet by ourselves, and we couldn't have expected for times to stay the same. I think there would have been some good things, and one thing that I do think that the younger generations are going to lack on is in a crisis when you got to go back to basics, when you got to, you know what I mean, go to the meat market, get your meat. I say this all the time. When you got to, you know, go somewhere cheap and get something cheap and put it together, you know, I think that they're going to struggle because we live, you know, the younger people now, they live in a Uber Eats kind of society. They
Yeah,
live
I agree.
as the ready, because this is all they know. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just all they know.
Yeah,
Computers and things, automated things have been here their whole life, pretty much.
yeah.
But I do think if that's all taken, if the internet is taken, they're gonna struggle.
Oh man, you know, a lot of people is gonna struggle, but you know, that's
We're
something
gonna
that's here to
struggle,
stay.
but we know how to live without.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So it's
Yeah.
not that's a foreign world to them. So I do think that they should be a little bit more willing to listen to us because some of us do have some wisdom to spread to them on just in case stuff goes crazy. Because if we go to war with Iran, if we go to war with Iran, Iran ain't gonna sit there and take it like Venezuela did. And I don't trust that either. So we're gonna have to we might have to duck and cover with Iran. They not playing
And
with
I
us.
want to ask you this question since you got back on that too with this war. What do you think? You know, because me and Big Ken, we was talking about that. You know, with the whole thing with these, with the V8s and the gas engines, it's kind of mighty funny that Trump, you know, they went over there and took over the oil fields and all that shit, you know, over in Venezuela, and they're probably trying to do the same thing with Iran, and they're probably trying to put a stop to that. You know, but give me your thoughts on that. You know, is that mighty funny, or do you think it's just all a plan on, you know, what's getting ready to go on?
I think it's the uranium. I think it's the uranium because we need uranium for the chips in the cars. We need it for parts on the seatbelt. We need uranium for a few things in the car. And if they have plundered so much uranium, I think that that's why they're going after Iran now. I think
Okay.
Venezuela as well. It was oil and it was
Yeah, it's
uranium.
definitely oil for the Venezuela, you know, because now oil is getting ready to be in high demand over here in the States with, you know, them bringing back the V8s and these, the gas guzzling cars, but we have a comment here. Michael Reitman said Democrats, and I agree. We are, well, I agree on that. It definitely was something that the Democrats, issued into law with these EVs. But we got a
Y'all
few
don't
people
want to
watching.
get
I
me
need for you guys
started.
to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. But LaShawn, give me your opinion on your last opinion on that topic, and we can talk about whatever you have on your mind.
I'm so tired of this compartmentalizing. My thing is, okay, you can be a specific party if that's what you want. But if you really want who's best for the country, then the party shouldn't matter. You pick the best person.
Right.
So I think there are bad things going on both sides. So I don't want us to get so caught up, because then you sound like MAGA, because they blaming everything on the Democrats. Well, it couldn't be, because we're not even in control right now. So if you wanted to cut some stuff out, y'all got the Senate, the House, and the presidency. So what else do you need? So we can't
Michael
keep
Reitman said, unfortunately, people stick with their parties. Go ahead, LaShawn.
Well, I mean, but that's the closed-mindedness of some people. Let's try to think outside the box and say, you know what? I think more so now, I'm more just independent, and not even just independent with the independents. I'm just whoever's best for the job, I will vote for.
Yeah,
You
and I
know,
think going forward, a lot of people probably will start looking independent. Because why will people continue to vote for people that does not have their best interest at mind, or at hand, I should say.
yeah.
That's on the Democrat side and the Republican side. Because it's a lot. Listen, going forward, even go ahead. Did I cut you off? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm just saying, like we talking about people eating babies right now. Like we talking about people having sex with children right now. And my thing is, and I know that's going on both sides. That ain't just a Republican
Yeah,
Democratic
exactly.
issue. And all of this is going on because we are trying to cover that up. Because what did Cat Williams say on Club Shay Shay? He said a biggest part of somebody that has sold their soul is to act like it didn't happen.
Right.
That's just what's happening. We trying to cover our tracks. They trying to cover their tracks. And it's like, what are we gonna do? I'm so tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about the Epstein files and
God,
and,
you hearing about a
ballroom.
new story about that shit every day. Give me your thoughts on that. I think, and I kind of think you're hitting on what I'm getting ready to say. I think it's more to it. They're bringing this shit out to actually cover up something big that's getting ready to go on. I don't know if it's this virus that's getting ready to come out, that they're trying to cover up, or or whatever war they're trying to pull over our face. But it's mighty funny that that they're bringing this back up, that this is being discussed, and it's crazy that they're not being transparent with with these Epstein files. Every motherfucker in there should be locked up and prosecuted.
Now whose fault is that?
And Michael Reitman said they're all crooks.
Okay, right, exactly. So that's why I don't want to get into this Democrat, because the Democrats are not who's holding the Epstein files back right now. These are, I truly believe, and I have always said this, that Donald Trump wants to be president because he doesn't want this to come out. This is some damning information. First of all, if you like having sex with children, if you like having sex with children, you should never see the light of day again, because if children get your dick hard, then it's always gonna get your dick hard in some way. I just don't think you can get over pedophilia. I just don't. And I think
Yeah, and it's a lot of allegedly, our politicians, lawmakers, senators, judges, that's all allegedly involved in these situations, involved in these files, so I would love to see, I would love to hear the videos. I would love to see the files, of the, the high nonchalant people that's on this list, so they're covering it up, for
Yeah.
a reason. They're not going to release it, so, and I'm just tired of it, so give me your last thoughts on that, man. What do you think? This man is dead, and, they're still talking about it.
I don't think he's dead.
I don't either. I said that.
I don't think he's dead because there's a minute and 30 seconds that's missing from the tape. So, you know what I mean? So we don't know really what happened. They saying he did, but he had way too much money to be dead. I just don't. I believe that. I just think that it really kind of brings out the sickness in some cultures, that they think that this is okay, and because they're in the Billionaire Boys Club, that they get to do these things without being checked or questioned or prosecuted. It makes me sick to my stomach, for real. And I think that until we withhold our money and say we're not spending a dime until the Epstein files are released, well, just like Target, just like Home Depot, our money talks. So if we start costing some people some money, so that we should never buy another Tesla again. Nobody.
Yeah, and me personally, I don't think these files will come out of the main, like the Trumps, the the senators and the so-called high elite people that they don't want to be released. I think it's going to look bad on mainstream society, because this goes back to the holiday that just passed a few weeks ago, Valentine's Day. A lot of people, this goes back to what these motherfuckers like. There's some sick pedophilia, motherfuckers who love fucking around allegedly, with little boys.
Yeah, and it is. I believe that that's why they want the economy to kind of drag for the middle class and the lower class people, and they want to continue to, profit off of it, is because they want so much money where they can be perverted, and there's nothing you could do about it. I do believe that it is white over politics. It is white over money. It is white over everything. But real close up under that is money and power and control. And they want to control the narrative of this planet. It's only like a few leaders that even fuck with Trump. Is really only Putin really right now, and then the president of Venezuela he caught, but I believe he was in on it, and I think that it's that the president of oh my goodness, I can't think, but I of Israel. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. It's all a circle. It's all a paganistic kind of cult.
Right.
And I don't know if it'll ever go away, because there are people that are still following him. Whenever I see polls of where he stands in the country, there are still a lot. His numbers are still higher than I think they should be for somebody that's suspected of sleeping with a child.
That, and that's sickening to think that, but you got to look at, the society that we live in. We're living in a society where, you have a group of men that celebrates, at one point in time that used to, it was frowned upon if you didn't wasn't messing around or, being a pedophile at those point in times and days, so pretty much that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring back this sickness, they're trying to get us to adapt this bullshit, but we got to continue, just staying prayerful and just not allowing this shit to affect, mainly our kids, because really that's what they're focusing on. Focusing this shit is on the children.
But I got a question for you.
Go
Is
ahead.
there a difference between that entity, that somebody facilitating it, or your uncle, your creepy ass uncle that fuck with you, and then the whole family act like it never happened? Or they keep them in the basement and tell kids not to go down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's no difference between the
It's a
two.
lot of
They're
people
both some
out here.
pedophile motherfuckers that need to be taken off this planet. But
Yeah.
but go ahead, Lashar.
No, I'm just saying it gives such little dick energy. Like, there's nothing that gives more little dick energy than niggas that fuck with kids and niggas that get in women shit. They
Yeah,
all
you
think
know, and
that
this is what's so crazy. These are high, powerful men. You know, like you said, little dick motherfuckers that's
little dick
turned
energy.
on by little boys
Little girls, little
and
boys.
little girls.
Yeah. But
And don't
it's
get
not
and I
about
apologize for leaving young women out. And little girls. It's been a
they're
lot of them.
little
That was
girls.
mentioned in these files. Go ahead.
They still little girls.
Right.
And but this is the thing that turns you on, because it may not even just be, this that their body isn't developed all the way. It might just be the control in it. You're a big giant and you can control what you do to this little person. And this is how much control they want over the money, the economy, over people, over the world, really. They want to profit off of everything, and whoever falls is just collateral damage.
Right.
They don't care about anybody. And until people that love Trump uh understand that he don't love y'all either, just because y'all love him and just because y'all root for him, he don't care about y'all at
Well,
all.
I tell you one thing. Who just realized that the Hispanic and Latino
We tried to tell him.
group.
We tried to tell him.
Yeah, because I don't know if you were aware of this. You just had some of the Latino women that were speaking out. I'm not gonna say apologizing to Black women for you know some of the things that they some of the things that were said about Black people, some of the things that were said about Black women, them using the N-word and things like that. So now they're starting to see, because most of the Mexicans and Latinos, they registered as Caucasians, so most of them are getting an eye awakening, that Trump
Dude,
don't give a fuck about y'all neither.
we tried to tell you. We tried to warn you. We tried to be cool with you. They never liked you. We tried to be cool with you and bring you on to the cookout. But y'all, this is what you voted for. So you can't get mad that you voted for this. You can't get mad, because, yeah, you voted. Some of y'all illegally voted, I guess, but y'all voted.
Yeah, and that same group that looked and registered as Caucasians and identified as Caucasians was the main group that he was hitting. But Eli 6531 said fuck Trump.
Hey, hey,
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. Let's go.
yeah.
Let's get his ass. And I keep wondering, like, I ain't saying like because I am God fearing, but where are the snipers at? Where are the snipers, and why they can't
Well,
get it
well,
right?
they tried a few years ago, didn't they?
So
Which
they
I don't
say.
think that was real. I think that was
So they say.
it was a setup.
Yeah, so they say. I don't believe nothing that comes out of them, because they think that, and it just really highlights how slow some people are. How everybody believed the narrative about Black people at first. Everybody believed that we were, lazy, we were this, we were that. And because now we won't get involved in your fight, now you're sorry.
Yeah.
Now you understand. Oh, okay. All right. So we're not saying I can only speak for me because I'm not a spokesperson for Black people. I'm not saying that I'm not ever with Mexicans, because I love them too.
Yeah,
Um,
and I do too, and I'm glad you said that. But the whole thing is, they never stood up for, any, and this is what a lot of people are saying, in the articles that I was reading, when it came down to the issues that we were having, you didn't hear about none of the Latinos or Mexicans that were standing up, for some of the issues, like with the killing of the young men that, when the police was, what's his name, that stood on his neck and things like that, some of the.
George Floyd.
Yeah,
George
the
Floyd.
George Floyd situation, and then just a lot of situations that was going on, the past few years in the Black community.
Yeah.
They were like crickets, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, now since they're being attacked, they're being targeted. And this is coming from the females. I haven't really heard anything about from the men, from the Latinos, or the Puerto Ricans, or the Mexicans. But this has been the women
They
talking about,
They
this
apologetic
issue.
too. They wish they hadn't voted for him too. The
Yeah.
farmers wish they hadn't voted for him. Like, it's a lot of Black people that voted for him. that still follow him, and I don't understand that at all. But okay, all right, cool. I don't even want to talk to Joseph no more because his boy tripping, and he gonna sound just like the rest of MAGA and try to justify, but he can't justify this. Trump should go if you remove a royal Prince Andrew. Well, he ain't even Prince no more, but Andrew, they removed him, from the lineage. Like he not a prince no more because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein.
All right.
Why can't we do something?
And I want to ask you this question while we're still on the whole Trump. What do you think about the whole removal of the, because we had a conversation last week on last Freestyle Friday that, I believe Joseph and Big Ken, they were discussing that and debating that. Joe said that black folks didn't need DEI. I'm like, and we kind of debated that. Give me your opinion. Give me your thoughts on that. Do you think him removing DEI was a good thing or a bad thing for the black community?
I do. I think it needed to be reformed. I do. I'm not saying that we needed to get in, but there were people that were plotting to keep us out on purpose.
Right.
So it at least gave us a way, like, okay, you got to hire us because you cannot just hire your own and leave us out if we're qualified for the same jobs. You got it. At least let me get in and prove myself. Then if you don't want me, you could get rid of me. But you're actively stopping us from getting in places that we are most times overqualified for. So I think that if there wasn't DEI, black product makers wouldn't have ever got into Target. I really don't. But it allowed us to show that we could stand with most of the black products were their highest selling products. So now you see, but that's that white over everything. That white over everything. It's a little bit higher. And the whiteness of some people is higher than God and money to some people. And that's what it was. They just didn't want it. Black women were getting too educated. We were, not going back to work because we had become entrepreneurs. So they were losing out. And they thought that once this beautiful bill came out, that we were going to, and once they got rid of DEI, that we were going to jump back in these cotton fields and do all these little menial jobs. But no, we smart. You fucked up when you let us learn some shit. You fucked up when you let us get educated. That's what you did. So,
and you hit it right, and you hit it right on the nose too, DJ Shiny D. When you spoke about it, because I told this to Joe. I'm like, look, because he said Joe was under the impression that we didn't need it. He said they were hiring, the best candidate for the jobs. I'm like, ain't no fucking way you believe in that, because the DEI was the exact reason why they created this, because, they were not hiring the top qualified candidates for the job. They were hired solely off of only off of skin complexion. You know what I mean? So you hit it right on the nose. DEI was something that was needed. Hopefully, once this administration is out of here, a lot of the things that he took out of play will be put back into play. So a lot of people have to understand, these are just things that are temporarily, removed by Trump. I believe a lot of this stuff that's been taken away will be brought back.
Well, the good thing about DEI now is with them, getting rid of it, it actually showed people hands. You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't have knew Target was like that if this didn't end. Because everybody know I hate Walmart. I was at Target once a week. Like that's my store, but I ain't been back since. And I will not go back. And so now all of a sudden they trying to come out with this black initiative for all black.
You talking about Target?
Yes.
And after they don't lost billions of dollars.
So now we know how to talk, and it ain't tearing up stuff. It ain't burning down stuff. It ain't none of that. We really can talk without saying a word, and that's not.
And I agree.
Let's not spend our money in places.
Yeah, and listen, and you hit it right on the nose. And I was just getting ready to go there. I talked about this too on the show. This maybe was last week. I think Trump is taking the wrong people out of the neighborhoods. He's targeting the wrong group. It should be the people that's in the neighborhoods that's taking out of the neighborhoods that's not putting back. And to me, those are the people that's running the stores, the liquor stores, the grocery stores. We're surrounded by people that's running the business that don't look like us in our communities. You know what I mean? So I think those are the people that should be chased out and ran out of the communities. And who I mean by that is the Arabs and the Chaldeans that's been in the communities for over 50 years, that's been bringing a lot of things to the communities, like drug paraphernalia shit, selling shit, crack kits and shit like that. That's been devastating the community. They've been in the community. I'm not going to say not providing services, but what have they done to be able to build up the communities that they pretty much took from?
Well, if we didn't buy it, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, so we need to start practicing this same DEI on these same stores, I believe, in my opinion. Go ahead, though.
But it starts at home. And if you're not policing where your children are, if you are a crackhead and you buying crack paraphernalia from the store, then why wouldn't they have crack paraphernalia if you buying it?
But what I mean is these are the motherfuckers that's bringing this shit into our communities. That's pretty much, with the whole crack epidemic, you could walk into any corner store. And that's the reason why you have liquor stores on every corner and things like that, and I won't go too deep off into that, but I think that's what we need to concentrate more on, what running them out of our communities, and having some type of plan where when we run them out, being able to replace these businesses with Black-owned businesses.
Well, you know what? Like I said, but that still requires an infrastructure that has to be planned out before. The one thing I have said that we need as progressive Blacks is we need a secret language. We need to be able to communicate with each other and plan some stuff. Like one of the most beautiful things that I see now is people buying land and putting compounds on them. Like everybody just come live on this compound, And I think that's a beautiful thing because that's a part of going back to basics. We need to get out of that mind frame where, okay, well, if I got some money, I'm moving around white people or I'm moving around this. No, how about you get some good Black people and y'all go buy some land and live together? How about that? At least we're creating community, we're creating infrastructure, we have a secret language, which is what all the rest of the foreigners do. The foreigners do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They speak in their language. We don't know what they're saying or whatever, but we need a way to commune with one another that's secret, because white people talking to each other, Arabs talking to each other, Chinese people talking to each other. And if I had any advice for anybody right now, it would be to arm yourself. Even if, you know what I mean, if you can't arm yourself and buy plenty of ammo, because that's what white people doing. And that's the plan that they're putting in place for one another. So we got to show up somehow.
And it's the reason why too.
And we got to show up somehow. And 9mm ain't gonna do it.
Not at all. Especially when the revolution hit. But let's shine. Give everybody your last words. Let everybody know what you got going on and where they can reach you.
Well, first of all, how you gonna end the show without asking me if I have a topic?
Oh, go ahead. I told you. I said if there's anything else that you want to talk about, let's talk about it. So go ahead. We're gonna keep it going then.
All right. What do you think? I don't know if you're familiar with this 50 Cent T.I. battle.
Listen, we talked about that last week on Freestyle Friday. You gonna have me bring my cousin. She was on it.
Man, I'm just saying, like 50 Cent, you think he wrong?
I'm about to bring her invite. I'm about to invite her in. You know what? I'm a 50 Cent fan. Don't get me wrong. I like T.I. I understand what's going on, why he upset. T.I. is 50 is a troll. He troll everybody. He does all that to get up under your skin to create controversy. But I'm a 50 fan, man.
Yeah, don't bring nobody else in. It's just quick. I want this to be quick.
Go ahead.
I do think that 50 Cent too old for this now, and he only seems to troll Black people. And I think that's wrong. He's making his money now off of black TV, but then he the first one to bring a black person down or to troll them. So I think he's trying to make money off of both sides, you know, and it's something about people and please, internet, please don't take me, this is just my own thought and my own experience, but people who have sadly lost, especially their mother at a very young age, that's a hurt that I don't know if they ever really get over.
Right.
And it seems like he has a lack of empathy for others. So he doesn't, you know, this is funny to him, you know, this makes him feel big. But I really think that, and somebody asked 50 one time, like, do you ever get let me say, do you ever get depressed? And he said, I can't afford to be depressed. So for him to say that meant that he's not taking time out to deal with trauma, you know, like, and I think he does because he gonna get fucked up with T.I. family. It's a
Yeah, because the son, did you see the video that T.I. son put back out?
I did. I did. Did you
Yeah,
see
that was crazy, you know, but
you see mama on his shirt?
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
and
deep.
and I thought that first of all, I thought it was a real deep shot. But the one thing about these young people I'm noticing is, you know how when we were younger, like if we had jokes about somebody, we would talk about, but we wouldn't talk about your mom if she
Yeah,
passed
your mama,
away.
and especially if
We
she
would,
was dead or your daddy was dead, those jokes were off. That
yeah,
started, you got ass whooping for them type of jokes.
well, not now, because they he said, you talk about mine, I'm talking about yours, I don't care. You
Right.
know, and so that's kind of the mindset of the younger generation now. They don't have those same boundaries that we
Values.
did.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
respect, man. The respect is gone.
yeah, but you know what? But they also deserve respect. The younger
No, I
generation,
agree.
they deserve respect too. And 50 didn't show that to them. He didn't show it to, he was coming at T.I., didn't realize the collateral damage, the snowball effect that it would have with her children. Like you wrong for that. It was two men that were going to, and that's what I mean by bitch ass nigga shit. Like
Right.
that's bitch ass nigga shit to me. Why would you bring her in it when it was just between you and T.I.? You can't stand up for yourself because you know T.I. would have whomped your ass in the verses. And I don't give a damn. He wouldn't have.
See, I mean, I'm not saying T.I. didn't have that. That would be a good competition. This, you know what? We may be setting up for that. You know, this
Well,
could
that's
be the
what
big
he said.
setup for that. You know, but what do you think? What do you think they're going to do going for four? You know, and then I'll give my opinion on that whole situation. I think,
Well, yeah, people make money off beefs now. You know, so you know everybody's trying to spark something, and if it gains traction, then they're going with it because it brings them more followers, more views, more everything.
exactly, and
So
that's where I was getting ready to go to. It to me, it sounds like the whole thing with the Corey HOLCOMB and Anton Daniels
mhm.
situation. You know, they got a
Yeah,
lot of
we supposed to talk about
publicity, a
that.
lot of views from that situation. You know, so to me, it's just 50 Cent is a big troll. You know, he stays relevant. You know, for because he's not rapping no more. You know, he's just producing and doing things like that. So when he could creates controversy like that, it keeps him irrelevant. It keeps him in the algorithm and things like that.
Well, I don't think that 50 Cent is evolved enough as an artist to rap nowadays because he ain't in the club no more. You too old for the candy shop, like you
Right.
need, you know. And I don't think you evolved enough to rap now. I don't. I
No,
think Ti
and I probably
did.
will. Most people probably will agree with you on that. You know,
Mhm.
that's one thing that Ti probably, at this point in his life, with 50 probably, will probably outsell him in record sales.
Who 50 would?
No, I
Outside-
said Ti
Oh,
probably would right
yeah,
now.
T.I. Yeah, he
Yeah,
would. You know, so I just I don't know, but he got everybody involved in.
yeah, he
And
do, man. You know, so going forward, I can't wait. Because he on Jay-Z ass too. With this documentary and everything that's allegedly that's getting ready to come out.
but why are you doing that to black men? Like I can understand you bringing light because anybody that has abused or murdered somebody to get up or had anything to do, you need to be brought to attention. And that's the one thing about the black community that I think needs to die. Is that no snitching. Think that needs to die. It's one thing if you and I are out and we do a crime together and I get caught and I tell on you and you didn't
Right.
get caught and I tell on you, that's different. But if you see some in your neighborhood that is destructive to your neighborhood or harmful to somebody, you need to open your mouth and tell. I'm telling. And I think they need to do that.
Yeah, no,
I
I
think they
agree
need to do
100%. You're absolutely right. We need to change that mindset, for the next generation, because, it's not a good look when we allow shit like that to go on in a community that harms the community, and we stay violent, because it does nothing but it harms the community more than it helps, by
right.
not so-called snitching,
And the
but
one
yeah,
thing I
man.
love about Detroit, is the men don't play here about their community and their city.
Right.
And if you do something that's really wrong in that community that they deem is wrong, oh, they will come and close you down. No
Oh
police
yeah,
will
they're
come.
gonna come out, with the with Zeke and the 300. They will come out, in the community,
Yes,
and I think that's what needs to happen. Groups like that need to start going, store by store, shutting them down. But we need to have a plan, to replace these stores, as they do that, going forward. But that'll be
well,
another conversation, in the future that we can have.
every block need a superhero.
Right,
Every
I agree.
community is a
I agree.
superhero, you know?
Yeah,
And then we have to back these people up that do that. You can't be mad. He all in my business. You need somebody that's all in your business. Who know if they ain't seen you in a couple days that they need to check on you. You need that. You need a community.
yeah,
And we need to get back to that. And unfortunately, I think with the younger generation, I don't think they're gonna see it because this is their world. They partying, they
right.
having a good time, they kicking it, and I ain't mad because I promise you I did too. So I'm not saying, but I hope that they take time to say, you know what? Okay, I can party and still be responsible for my community, for uplifting, for progressing, and teaching my children, a different way. Let's get rid of some of these curses that's been put on our generations.
Right. That's why conversations and talks like this is important, to be able to educate young folks that may be listening to situations like that, so therefore, they'll be able to take the positive out from hearing you talk or getting advice from what you said, or being able to take that and apply that into their lives, you know what I mean, because we need the youth are the future, without them we're going to fail as a group.
And we're here to support them. Well, some of us are. There are
Right.
some of us that are hating on them, but there are some of us that are here to help y'all. Like y'all need help with stuff. I will help you. I'm not here to judge you. Dance on the tables if you want to. Shake your ass walking down the street. I don't give a damn. But I'm here to help you where if shit go down, you need to be prepared. If there's a plan in place, we need to include y'all. Y'all need to include us because we need each other.
Yeah, man, because our youth, they're way smarter than,
Yeah,
my generation, my mother generation, with the technology. So, they've come a long way. We set the blueprint, and they took off and ran with it, so we like you said earlier, we got enough actors and enough actors and athletes. We need more like policemen to be able to police
correct.
the neighborhoods, to be able to protect our people. We need more doctors, more lawyers and things like that, more people, more black men and women with trades.
So wouldn't you think that with Trump, and I hate to go back, it would have been better since each state really handles their policing efforts and stuff and Fed come in when they need to. But if what do you think if he would have said, okay, I'm coming in to help y'all, instead of me coming in bringing ICE, killing people, detaining people with masks on, all this other stuff, if I just don't give y'all some extra money and y'all hire some people so that y'all can hire more forces. So that lets you know that it's not about the people. He cares nothing about the people. That was a way to create a force, a force.
Right.
And it's not working because we don't listen to pedophiles.
Yeah, and then at that, it was a way of keeping his promise to those who voted him in. That was one of the things that he started doing, that he put into effect when he got into office. So a lot of things that Trump is doing, people have to realize that it's a lot of people that paid a lot of money, a lot of interest groups that did things, like I said, that put up a lot of money that for things that that he's setting into play, for that to happen. So he's just trying to keep his promise, to people that pretty much put him in position.
And I think that Black people, especially Black people that come from like the streets, know the hood a little bit, they understand Trump because they didn't
Right.
seen nigga shit before. You know what I mean? They know what
Yeah.
nigga shit look like. And this is what this is. But you got to understand that for your future, for the future of your children, this is not what we need. This is not, we need somebody with that's not making an enemy out of us to everybody else on the planet. For our children's sakes, we don't need these kind of problems. We really don't.
No, and I agree with you 100%. Don't get me wrong. Trump, and I won't get off on that too much, but in my eyes, I think right now, he's trying to usher in some type of plan to continue keep us working. I understand with the whole ICE thing, a lot of that shit that I don't agree with. And I won't agree with. I'm not with him on that. But I do agree with him. On the auto industry, and that's one of the only things that I do agree with the Trump ministry. Because right, at that point, that affects my life and your life too. Because you're in the auto industry too. So that's one thing that I hope he keep his promise on, and he does right in that field.
I don't know any other time, name a time where Trump has done anything good for anybody other than his friends.
Yeah, I mean, I can't name a time, but
Okay,
at the end of the day, it's all about the money.
Yeah, when he gave you that check, that was it. That was all. That's all
Yeah.
people know about. You know what I mean? But it just comes down to, he not for us. So it's time for us. I'm actually all good with segregation. Let's segregate ourselves. It's fine
See,
with me.
and this is something that our people need to realize, and we talked about this before, none of these presidents that we've had in office has been for us. We even had a mixed president that was in the office that was not really for us. You know what I mean? Who did not change or affect anything that that would help Black folks going forward. Only thing he was able to do was bring in this whole gay agenda. So we just got to realize that, man. Look, we
Obamacare. He bought in Obamacare.
Okay, I give you that. We have to understand that we're living in a country that's ruled and dominated by white society. You know what I mean? So once we realize that, we definitely, as a whole, we have to get back to doing for our self group, for the group, because right now everybody is individualized, and that's what white supremacy or white society wants us to be, is segregated. We're segregated, even as a group. We do nothing as a team, as a whole. The Mexicans, they work together. They went from the number 3rd group in this country to the number 2 group. They surpassed Blacks as the number 2 group, in this country right now, because they work together as a group, so once we get back to like how we were, back in the times where we actually stuck together, where we built together, and we did not allow, our oppressors to scare us out, of what we were doing, and a lot of stuff, we didn't have any choice, a lot of stuff were bombed, we were killed, we didn't have no choice but to flee, but once we get back to, in my opinion, to thinking group mentality, we'll be okay.
Well, I think that that's only going to come if we all have to overcome something. You know what I mean? It's in test and trial that we commune. If things are going well, we don't. So I think that unfortunately things will have to get a lot worse, I think, for us to be on the same page. I do. I just think that way. I don't think that I just think with the younger generation and us older generation, our outlook is not the same. Just like when I was their age and my mother, our outlooks aren't the same. Because right now I'm all for me, I'm all for kicking it, I'm all for, saving a little money so I can go on some trips and I can, and my mom's thinking about retirement and all that. Now I'm there.
Right.
So if we're not overcoming anything, I don't see us really being on the same page. I wish that it could be, because I think that we could teach them a lot and they could teach us a lot, for real, to be
Yeah,
honest.
so hopefully one day we are able to bridge that gap and be on the same page.
I would
But
love
I don't have anything else to add on that. If you do, LaShawn, if not, let everybody know where they can reach you. Let everybody know what you got going on.
I'm at gloss shaped butter at hotmail.com. And you could catch me on the flip side.
Okay. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure, getting your thoughts, getting your opinion. It's always two sides to a story, and again, I thank you for coming on the show. And I want to before I end the show, I want to get back to, the auto industry. I know a lot of people look forward into getting that profit sharing check. I'm one of them people too. But after what happened last year, I learned the valuable lessons. You cannot count your chickens before they roost or before they hatch, and that's a lot of, and what and I'm just gonna be honest with black folks, we depend on, you can't depend on something that's not what's the word, that's not
Obtained yet?
not even obtained, that the profit sharing is not something that's a given. You know what I mean? So a lot of us look at it like, like it's something that's owed to us, so therefore, man, we have to, and we talked about this, we have to be able to, set up other options, with trades and, just making sure that we live within our means, you know what I mean? And a lot of us don't, and these companies like this, will put you in a fucked up situation if you're depending on them, every week, you know what I mean? And this is the perfect example, so at the end of the day, people,
we make over $100,000 a year.
yeah, so we definitely listen. We are most of the Stellantis workers that didn't get profit sharing this year, and most of them will attest, definitely we are blessed. Most of us make over $100,000 a year, so it should be more than substantial enough to be able to put up, for rainy days like this, so this should be a lesson to going forward, that you cannot count on something that's not a given. So going forward, you can't count your chickens before they hatch. And a lot of people made that mistakes. A lot of people probably it hurt. It hurt me. A lot of people look for that money for vacation. To get caught up on bills and things like that. But you have to be able to save throughout the year. And use your bonus money for situations like that. That we may get out throughout the year, and put up and save for days like that. It taught me a valuable lesson. So going forward, hopefully it'll teach a lot of people a valuable lesson. So give everybody your last thoughts on that, LaShawn.
Well, that Balenciaga purse, it don't matter right now, right? You ain't got nothing to put in it. So
hey, listen. Or that LV wallet. Listen, I'm a Jordan man. I'm a shoe man. I don't think I bought no shoes in over damn near 2 years now. I promise you. You have to be able to cut back and know how to budget.
You got enough, and it just comes down, and you don't even go out enough because you always at work.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah,
so you still got shoes that you're just collecting, that you're not wearing, that you haven't worn.
Man, if I can turn my camera around and show you all, I still got at least 20 pairs of shoes that I haven't even wore yet. So you just got to watch how you really have to just budget and put your priorities first, and things like that. That shit don't even matter, because once I was bumped out of where I was bumped out of, my money definitely changed. So a lot of the spending that I was doing, I cut that shit off immediately.
Yeah, I told somebody today, just today, like I've really been, I went to the grocery store, I got food for the whole week. Like I'm gonna just get food and I'm gonna just chill at the house, with my dogs doing some stuff. And I've really been enjoying just cooking for myself. Food tastes better because I've been saying like all these restaurants is just not satisfying no
Hey,
more.
listen,
Like
man,
the
listen. All the
food and
money that we spend on food throughout the week, throughout the work week, trying to
yep.
eat, versus like you said, cooking at home,
Mhm.
and I've been cooking meals that I haven't had in a long time, and it's been quite good, and it's saved me a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying. So we got to get back to that. Just, the basics. I'm doing this thing, and I've been doing this for a while, for at least a few months, where if during the week, I don't spend any money.
Right.
I don't. I get gas, I get food, I get everything on the weekend, and then that way, I sometimes switch up because I don't like buying gas on the weekend because it's high. But that's the only thing I can buy during the week is gas.
Well, let
But
me
I
say
mean,
this: it's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers that's not gonna be spending money throughout the week and just buying gas too.
well, hey, it's
Like I
good
promise,
training.
especially after this announcement in this week.
Yep. Well, you
Yeah,
know what? That's why we got to be responsible all year and not wait until May or whenever we get profit sharing to catch up on our responsibilities. We got to
yeah,
take care of it. And I'm speaking to me too.
yeah.
I
Me
got
too.
some
I
share
said,
companies
I
too.
said I'm one of the first people that that definitely is going to take this as a lesson learned. Far
Yeah.
as and I knew it. I knew from the start of the fall that which route we were
Yeah.
facing. But I didn't know that it would equal out to nothing. That's another
Right.
story. Damn.
Right. Right. Yep.
But look,
But we still blessed. We
yeah,
still blessed.
we definitely still blessed.
We
We
still
definitely still
blessed.
have a job
And guess
that we're
what?
going to be able to go back
And
to.
we off. We off right now with pay.
Yeah,
That
so
doesn't
a
happen.
lot of people, you still count your blessings. The profit sharing
Yeah.
checks may have not been, what you thought it was going to be, and it wasn't. It was zero. But we'll definitely bounce back. And you got to think about it. 2 years ago, we had some of the record high and profit sharing checks out there.
Mhm.
Stellantis did. So we'll bounce back. That Hellcat is definitely getting ready to make a comeback. These V8s is getting ready to come back. So we just need to get out there,
That's
and
it.
build a great build a great product,
Yes, that's
and
right.
eliminate a lot of issues that the company was having. I got a comment that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to go ahead and close out.
Okay.
Ryan said there, so I don't understand that, but
Ryan,
but
what's
look.
up with these one word comments?
Right. But look, it was definitely a great show, a good conversation. I enjoyed it, so hopefully we'll be able to have talk about this going forward, and hopefully we'll have a better turnaround with profit sharings next year. So like I said, at the end of the day, people just need to put up, save, and and just get a better start next year than what we did this year, because a lot of people was disappointed. I'm one of the people, but it's another one. It's your boy Dame D, and I am out. Peace.